Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I'm an Auckland wedding photographer and your host. This week I'm joined by the lovely Viarni, who shares the story of her beautiful private property wedding in Mount Maunganui. Viarni and Paddy crossed paths over the years growing up in the Bay of Plenty, then reconnected at a bar which turned into a summer romance, 7 years together, a Bali proposal, and eventually a wedding at the home and property they've spent years creating together. In this episode, we chat about planning a wedding on private property, creating a relaxed garden party feel, and the little logistics that come with bringing a day like this together, while still keeping it personal and true to them. We also talk about her custom dress made by one of her best friends, Lulu, the super talented woman behind Lulu Jackson Bridal. Viarni doing her own flowers, leaning on friends and family, using her events experience and how they created a day that felt relaxed and still really considered. Viarni brings such a helpful perspective as both a bride and someone who works in the events industry. With Lucy's event hire, I also had Lucy on the podcast, so I'll link that chat in the show notes in case you missed it. There are so many practical takeaways in this one. I think you're going to love it. So let's get into it. Enjoy episode 146 with Viarni. Hi, Viarni. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. So beautiful seeing your wedding photos pop up, and I'm so excited to hear all about it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So to get started with, if you could go back and tell us a bit about both of you, how you guys met, and kind of your life as a couple.
We've been together for 7 years, and we grew up in around the Mount Maunganui area in very similar friend circles. So we kind of knew of each other, but hadn't really crossed paths or met properly. And it wasn't until the summer of 2018, 2019 that we kind of connected again at a local bar, classic, the Lab, if anyone from the Mount is listening. And kind of started a bit of a summer romance, which we both didn't think would be serious. But we were just really smitten, and here we are today, married. I don't know if you can see, but we live, this is the property we got married on. So we've lived here for 4 years, and we just love gardening and adventures, beach time, socializing, gigs, all sorts of stuff. But we have a really good time together. Been working hard on this property for about 4 years. So that's kind of been our main thing.
Oh, so special to get married there as well. Classic story, meeting at a bar. Love that. Can still meet in real life.
I know. These days, it's kind of a little bit more rare, but we were kind of like, I know you. And then I think because we had, been in relationships in the past, and it was just I think it was the right time for both of us. And I was living in Auckland, and he lived here, but I ended up moving back to the Mount for love.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Such a nice lifestyle as well. Yeah, so you're together quite a while, then got engaged. Can you tell us a bit about the proposal story?
Yeah, so when we first got together, our first holiday, probably 6 months into dating, we went to Bali. We had both been there before, but we were both obsessed with it, really loved it. It's just a special place for us. And then unfortunately, COVID came, and we didn't really go on any holidays for about 5 years. So in 2024, we booked a trip again, and everyone was kind of like, well, I bet he's going to pop the question. But I just really, honestly, I just did not know. I was like, oh my God, he could. But also we hadn't really spoken in links about whether we would get married or not. But anyway, we went, and it was about a 3-week trip. And I think it was probably halfway through, and I was thinking, he probably would have done it by now if he was going to do it. And I was like, you know what? That's okay. We'll just enjoy the rest of the trip. But little did I know he was just waiting until the right moment kind of. And anyone that's been to Bali would know it's beautiful, but can be very touristy and busy. So I think some spots he was kind of like, this could be cool, but it ended up being lots of people around. Anyway, we were in Ubud, and we went to this amazing place that is kind of on a river, more like in the jungle, and there's like natural springs and things like that. And we were really lucky to be, there was like only one other couple there. So it felt very, very private, considering a lot of spots there are like quite crazy. And we were just having drinks and stuff. And then he kind of like led me on a little walk, and me being me, I was just like, I was getting distracted by everything. I was like, there was like a little group of ducks with ducklings. I was like, let's follow them. And he's like, no, let's go up here. I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, he just led me up to this spot that kind of overlooked everything. And he was like, hey, and I turned around and he had the ring. And then all I remember from that is just being really happy and honestly like crying for 3 hours. Tears of happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was great. It was very like, I don't know, in nature, like somewhat low key, very us. So yeah, he did very good.
Oh, I love that. So special. So good. Had you been, yes, you hadn't like chatted about it heaps before, but had you been one of those girls that kind of dreamed about your wedding one day? Did you have a bit of a vision in mind, or what did kind of those first planning steps look like?
Yeah, I honestly, like, I never really envisaged myself as like a bride as such. What I really loved was like the setup or like how it would look. And this was like before Paddy, obviously, but then after meeting him, like it was like, obviously, I want to spend the rest of my life with him. If that has marriage in it, then great. But, you know, if it doesn't, I would also be fine. But obviously, I was stoked that he popped the question. But I didn't really envisage what it would look like until, I mean, to be honest, when we moved here and we weren't engaged, I was like, this property, like I can see us getting married here. That's almost kind of what like sparked those conversations, more so than other things. But yeah, I think just like leaning into the natural surroundings here, and just having like a bit of a garden party and it being like chill but still organized. Like I'm very type A, so I was like, things to go well. But yeah, I think I only ever really started thinking about a wedding as a whole when we moved here, because I was like, man, it would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And yeah, I'm not sure when you started working in the industry. Was that with
Mm.
Lucy's first? So obviously got a little bit of insight through that.
Made me think about weddings a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's so cool because yeah, you get to see so many, like so much variety as well. So many lovely, lovely stories. I started working for Lucy's, it was coming up 3 years ago. So yeah, probably a year and a half-ish before we got engaged. So it was just very like amazing timing that I was lucky enough to work with them on it. So very
So
cool.
cool. Love Lucy's, and we've had Lucy on the podcast as well. So
Yes,
definitely
yeah.
recommend going back and listening to that one for more like, yeah, behind the business and what you guys do. So location, super important, so special to do it at home. Did you have any other sort of top priorities or like the most important elements of the day for you?
I'm kind of like everything was important.
Yeah.
No, but not in the sense, yeah, I guess so much like so many things play into the experience for not only him and I, but like the guests too. So we wanted everyone to have a really amazing time, but also, and it sounds silly because it's like, what's your wedding day? Of course you want to have a good time. But I think you can get really lost in, I don't know, I guess like expectation or tradition or trends or so I guess what was really important to us is that it felt like our wedding and it just flowed well. Everyone had a really good time, but yeah, so many things kind of feed into that. So like, we wanted to have really good food and nice drinks, and obviously I wanted it to look beautiful aesthetically, but I wanted people to take away a beautiful feeling as well, if that makes sense. Like I wanted to feel like them to feel the magic and the love that we were feeling. So yeah, I guess that's a very long-winded of saying like all elements were important to me. Obviously some more than others. My dress, the outfits, all of that. So yeah, I think I'm too much of a I mean I work in events, it's hard not to to detail, but
Yeah.
I think I'm like too detail oriented to kind of like let some things be more important, too important, like than compared to others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, so good. I mean, there's so many elements that go into it and yeah, make up that whole experience and feeling of the day. So totally makes sense. You had a gorgeous wedding dress. Can you tell us a bit about that journey? Did you look at a few different places? Yeah, what did that kind of look like finding the one?
Well, Lulu was my best friend and was my
So
bridesmaid.
good.
So it was never really a question. We had spoken for years about, even before Paddy, like, oh, what would your wedding dress look like? So yeah, it was always going to be her, and she's honestly just amazing. Her eye, her like skill for fits, for design. I mean, I might be biased, but I don't think it like I
So
reckon
talented.
she's gonna be a big name. Yeah, I think obviously it was going to be Lulu, and then just working through what it would look like. I never felt like a classic white dress bride. So from the beginning, we were looking for fabrics that you were either off white or even more like kind of golden yellowy. But we settled on like that kind of like buttery with it had a shine to it, which honestly I was just like it was the first fabric that we like kind of ordered, and we were like this is the one. And then yeah, just working through the design and how it would look and fit. And we always knew that we wanted to add some kind of like floral detail, whether that was like rosettes or something. But it's so not that you're like trying to be different, but it's really hard to have a level of uniqueness. And she ended up suggesting the little kind of like sewn on silk ribbons, and she did lots of like little flowers scattered on the train. And I was just like, yeah, perfect. Like any idea she had, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like I just trust her completely. I reckon she could have designed it without me even knowing what was happening, and she would have known it. But yeah, and she obviously did all the bridesmaids dresses too, so that was very cool.
Oh, so talented. Love her work. And yeah, just beautiful. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have seen your photos already, but it almost looks like a vintage dress. Or I think with your
Yes.
like Ruby doing your photos as well, just like, yeah, came together so well and all your kind of like colors and style on the day. So,
Yeah, very specific color palette, just like leaning into the natural surroundings as well.
mm,
Very just warm, earthy. I did want the dress to have like a bit of a vintage feel as well. So I'm glad that that translated.
oh, absolutely. And yeah, you had a bridal party as well. Was that easy choosing them? Did you, yeah, how did you go with that?
Yeah, they're like my five besties. It's like the group chat that we're always yapping in, like that's us. Some of them I've known for like more than half my life. Um, and yeah, they're the best. So it wasn't ever really not much thought went into it. It was just like that's them. Lulu obviously being one of them, and yeah, they're all very special to me.
Oh, so good. And how about the guest list? I don't know if you had kind of restrictions on it with your using your property instead of a venue. But yeah, how did you go with that? Was that tricky to narrow down?
We started off with, I think it was like just under 100, and there was a couple in there that we knew like couldn't make it because of distance reasons or whatever, but we just wanted to extend the invite anyway. You never know. And in the end, we ended up with 90, which was personally I think like a really perfect number. I think it's one of those ones where it's like it could have been, if it wasn't 90, it probably would have been like 60 or like 120. If that, you're kind of like widening the net to, more extended family or like wider friend groups or things like that. But I loved that number. And also, you don't really get to have proper conversations with everyone on your wedding day. Like it goes by extremely fast. People don't just say that, it really does. But I was still able to get around everyone and like say hi, thank you for coming, them, give them a hug. That was important to me too. Like I didn't want to be like, oh, I didn't even say hi to so and so, Yeah, I mean, we could have probably invited 200 people being at our house, but there's lots of things to consider, logistics and budget wise too. It kind of, the more people you add as well, it becomes very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense. But that's such a nice number that you landed on for sure. Yeah, can you walk us through the big day, maybe a little of the lead up to it, how it all went, and yeah, any highlights, favorite moments?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of it myself. So I think, the lead up, I wasn't necessarily like stressed. I just had so much anticipation. I was like so ready to like get there and set it up. And to be honest, the 2 or 3 nights leading up, I did not have very good sleeps. But again, that was like, oh, have I remembered this? Or I was just like so excited. But I love the planning process. The day of, me and the bridesmaids stayed here, and we were busy bees on the morning. It wasn't like a serene, everyone just laxing around getting hair and makeup done. It was still really fun, but we all kind of had a job to do, and I wouldn't have had it any other way, to be honest, because I couldn't just sit there twiddling my thumbs. Like I would have been an anxious wreck, or I don't know. And I love the process of setting up, and because I had kind of planned it all and sourced it all and it was here, it was a fun morning, but it definitely was jam packed, I guess. And then the day was perfect. Honestly, the weather was spot on. Had a bit of a scare the week earlier, so everyone always have a backup plan, a wet weather plan. And the day was perfect, honestly. Like, it was, everyone says, oh, it's the best day of your life. Like, literally it's the best day of, what was the best day of our lives. So many highlights. I think after kind of the rush of the ceremony and cocktail hour, like the rush, sitting down in this, like in the marquee with everyone around you, and also hearing the speeches, like we were really like floored by the speeches. We laughed and we cried, and I was like, wow, like this is what you think of me. But it sounds like ridiculous, but besides like weddings and birthdays are probably the only 2 times where like those really close to you are going to kind of get up there and say things. And we were like just so chuffed in the speeches and just being surrounded by everyone in the marquee. And then another really fun thing, I mean, I loved the dance floor, but we surprised everyone with like fireworks kind of like mid dance floor, and everyone was just standing outside. Like, it was just like a real triumphant feeling of the whole celebration of the day. But everything was fun. But those are just like the things that I always like think back on. And we, the aisle who did our content, they did full recordings of the speeches, and like Paddy and I, when we went on a mini moon after, but we just like sat down and we watched them back, because you're so you're like in the moment, like you are listening. It's so good to have those to watch back, and like I've watched them again a couple of times just because it like fills me with warm and fuzzies.
Yeah.
It was honestly great. The only there's nothing I would change other than I wish it was like more normal to start your whole day earlier. Like, I wish we could have had a 1 p.m. ceremony so we had more time. That it just goes by so fast.
Yeah. Oh, so many good moments in there. And sounds like such a beautiful day. Yeah, that was kind of my next question. If there was anything you would change, or what did you find like the hardest part about wedding planning?
I didn't necessarily find anything hard. Again, being in events, like I'm so used to the planning and the logistics, and like even like the floor plans. I get quite a nerd out a bit over that. And I loved like the sourcing of all the little bits and pieces. Honestly, I'd like, for me, there wasn't anything that was like hard per se. Just probably trying to fit everything you want to do in. And I actually got given a bit of shit about it in the speeches, because like I think I had a run sheet before I like had all the RSVPs in, because it's just me. It's like, it's like that's what's in my bones. But being like, okay, like we want to do the cake cutting before the photographers leave, or like things like that. I think just having like a really good schedule of the day, but then also not like losing your mind if that schedule doesn't stick, because it never does. But it was more just like blocking out time so that you can make sure like everything fits in and there's like a bit of a buffer and all of that. But I mean, that's more advice rather than what I. But I think, I just wish there was more hours in the day.
Yeah.
You want it to go on forever, but I wouldn't really change anything.
Yeah, so good. So great that you had that kind of industry experience as well, and knew how to put together a run sheet and everything. Did you have like an on the day coordinator as well, or you kind of just had like done all that yourself? Yeah.
Nah, I didn't. I highly suggest it for anyone that like doesn't know what they're doing, because I mean, so many brides come to us and they're like, where do I even begin? And I think it just takes the pressure off having to be like, okay, this is next, da da da. But honestly, I think I just would have done it even if I had an on the day coordinator. And I wasn't even like, I wasn't worried about things like, and I didn't mind someone coming up to me being like, oh, where is this? But honestly, I had everything so organized. I also had like a family friend just helping with like the odd things, not necessarily like coordinating, but just like, placing things down on the tables and stuff like that. Like my bridesmaids helped so much. My brothers helped a bit, like moving the ceremony chairs after. So I think just delegate, honestly. But if it's organized, then, nothing should really go too astray.
Yeah, so good. I've said it on the podcast before, but being super organized in the lead up means you can be really chill on the day because everything's set, everyone knows what they're doing. So, yeah, great advice.
And I think even does not necessarily, like, oh no, like this is we forgot to do. It's just like whatever. It doesn't matter, I think you're just there to celebrate with your partner. So, yeah,
totally. Did you guys have a set wedding budget, if you're happy to talk about that, or that whole side of things? You obviously would have an understanding of how much things are working in the industry, but do you want to touch on anything there?
Yeah, so we had set a budget, but I think lots of like factors come into play where I was extremely lucky to have, obviously Lucy's who I work for, which were very, very generous, which with all they helped with. And then obviously Lulu is my best friend. So she was extremely generous like, with her time. And those, which would usually be two very large costs, were a lot lower for us. So things probably would have looked a lot different if we didn't have those things. But those in mind, we still set a budget, and I did my absolute best to stick to it. And I did, I don't know, maybe $1,000. Yeah, I think budgets are hard too, because like you just have to do it within your means, like if you've got heaps of help from family, or you guys, make a lot of money on a salary or anything, it's like go for it. Like if you want to spend that much, do it. But yeah, I was also just tried to be a little bit more mindful, and I guess things like I did my own flowers, and that was partially because I was just like I just want them to be really simple so I could do it, but also because like we didn't have $10,000 to spend on flowers. But if like I work with a lot of florists, and I like bow down to them with what they do. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you want it to look like and what you can do. I think just don't have too many expectations, and it's hard to compare when you're seeing so much stuff like online, and just make sure that you're not overdoing the budgets and that it's a day that's true to you, I suppose. Yeah. And I mean, like we had a friend who was coming to the wedding anyway, DJ. A close friend was the celebrant. My bridesmaid made the cake. It was very friend. Yeah, a lot of
so
helping out. So we were able to save a lot of money. But our main costs were photography, food, and alcohol. But yeah, because of all those other factors, like we were able to spend more on them. So yeah, I think I did pretty well to stick to my budget.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's such a tricky question really, because it's like how long have you been saving, how long are you engaged, and then like if you have kind of different connections that can help you, or some people have family contributing as well, so there's so much that goes into it and like looks different for everyone. And yeah, great to just like make use of your community and your friends and vendors, totally makes sense.
We didn't pay for it, but which is amazing. But for anyone that is planning on it, don't let it fool you, because you do have to bring in everything. We're off grid here, so we're not connected to power. So like we had to get an extra generator, we had to get portaloos, like all of the like glassware, crockery, lots of like little bitty things. Sometimes it can end up being like similar, especially if you do bring in like a marquee and stuff. So like I think a lot of people are like, oh, no venue, you must just sit, and I'm like, oh, it's not quite.
You're just building one from the ground up.
Yeah. just something to mention.
Totally. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that, and I think I probably talked about this with Lucy in our chat as well. But yeah, how it's like, oh, we'll just save by doing it on private property, but it ends up often being more if you're getting a marquee and furniture and all the things. So yeah, something to think about definitely if you're thinking about going that way. Yeah, you guys went on like a mini moon, did you say? Have you gone on honeymoon, or yeah, what's planning that looks like?
Because it was end of November, we were kind of like, why would we leave Kiwi summer?
Yeah.
It's like the best time of year. So we went to Waiheke for 5 days. Once we kind of put our lives back together here, and it was amazing. Like we took our 2 dogs with us and just cruised and went to wineries and beaches and stuff. And then two of our friends that had come over from America for the wedding actually joined us for the last day with our MC. And yeah, it was quite fun. Like we went in and had some like downtime, just the two of us. And then we kind of like friends came and we were like, okay, we're going to party again. Like it was just really, we were celebrating. So that was super fun. But we are planning a trip this year in August. So, which I guess is our real honeymoon. But yeah, we just decided to do a little something because you're already on like a real high and you don't really have that much more money to spend either.
Yeah.
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 In most cases. So yeah, we'll do something proper at the end of the year.
Yeah, exciting. Something to look forward to. And yeah, so it makes sense. I think there's so many nice spots to go in New Zealand and locally as well. And then, yeah, kind of just get to like carry on that honeymoon bubble. And then you're kind of going into Christmas and summer and all of those celebrations as well. So I think cool time of year to do it.
Yeah, I highly recommend the spring wedding. I loved it.
So
Yeah.
nice. I don't know if this question will be super helpful because I feel like you know so many people in the industry or like had those connections as well. But is there any sort of helpful resources that you use during planning in terms of finding vendors or like just inspiration, stuff like that?
To be honest, I kind of knew of every vendor
Yeah.
already. Inspiration, like 100% Pinterest. Like I made a mood board. That's what I sent to like Ruby. That's kind of what I like based it off. Like I use a lot for work anyway. And then I guess just like social media in a way, like following things like, like the Wed and Bridal Journey, anti-bride and stuff like that. It's just fun seeing different like inspo. And I mean, if you were to work with Lucy's, for example, like I feel like any vendor also has a pool of other vendors that they love to work with or that they suggest. So that's really helpful as well. Just, if you're like, oh, like what florist am I going to, if you don't know where you're starting, I feel like it's very common always asking who they suggest working with. Same with venues, they'll always have kind of like suggested vendors. I think if you're a type B gal and you need to be a bit more organized with your planning. I mean, I didn't download a specific one, but I know that there's kind of like set planning, like budgets and stuff like that. So I just made my own, but I feel like that's probably a good tip if, you are trying to just keep things, organized. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Great thing about the vendors as well. I think the industry is all pretty like close in New Zealand. We all know each
New Zealand's
other.
easy.
And, yeah. So yeah, it can get some good recce's and then yeah, so much good online inspo as well. Yeah, I feel like you've given a lot of amazing advice already, but is there anything else you would say to a couple planning their wedding at the moment from that bride's perspective, but yeah, maybe from industry perspective too?
Yeah, aside from what I've already said, I think don't get too carried away in what you're seeing externally or what others are saying. Just remember that it is about you and love, and don't let it stress you out. It's not worth it. I see, and I don't know whether this is just for, I don't know, social media sake, but I just see so much stuff on social media that's like, oh my God, this is so stressful. Like I'm hating wedding planning, but I think it's such like a privilege to be in a position where you can have one. And yeah, I totally understand that it can be overwhelming, but just do your best to not let it overwhelm you. It's just not worth it. And yeah, and delegate. Don't try to be a hero and try to do everything yourself. I
Yeah.
mean,
Ask for
I did
help.
that. But, so I was like, I need help, guys, and people want to help. Like, yeah. So don't be surprised when quotes come in a lot higher than you think.
Mm.
Just like setting expectations around budgets and things like that as well. But yeah, you just got to take it as it comes, really.
So good. Such great advice. Is there anything you kind of see with your clients popping up again and again? Not necessarily like mistakes they make, but I don't know, things they struggle with. I know that you guys have an amazing systems and process of working with people and helping them mood board and get organized and stuff. But yeah, is there anything you kind of see a lot on that kind of front?
I mean, I actually work a lot on like the commercial side of the business, so I don't rarely deal directly with brides and stuff. But honestly, just like the planning, I think like don't leave things to the last minute.
Like where
And,
where the plans?
oh my god, we the plan. Everyone wants to have a beautiful day, and you probably will, but it's just not worth the stress. So like 100%, that is probably the number one thing that like Lucy tries to encourage without stressing yourself heaps. Try to plan everything you can possibly can. Yeah, I mean, start early as well. Like we have, certain marquees that are already booked out for like February next year or whatever. And I get it would be the same with venues and things like that. So yeah, and I think if you can have it on the day coordinator, if not, in the lead up, that's really key. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. And what is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any post-wedding blues?
I don't think I got post wedding blues because of the timing of year. Almost 6 months down the track now, and I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I could do it again.
Yeah.
But I didn't get like the blues, what like other brides speak about. But we just had lots of fun things planned for summer, and like we had gigs, and I was busy with work. And I think also because it's like a little project you're working on, it feels weird when you don't have that. But because I did have projects at work, it kind of helped me with that. Yeah, you're sad it's over, but you also do feel a bit like relieved in a way because you're like, whew, okay, like we did it. And you just get to have fun. So, but married life is great. 5.5 months down the track. Yeah, we're loving it. It feels the same but different, if that makes sense. Yeah, real happy.
Oh, so good. It's been so lovely to chat to you. Is there anything that we missed or you wanted to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. It was really lovely chatting with you. Hopefully, I answered everything well.
Amazing. So cool to chat to you. And yeah,
You
we'll
too.
definitely share some of your photos for everyone to see. And yeah, so good.